and welcome to this Astranti YouTube video. Hope you're all well and you're all staying safe at this time. In this video, I'm going to talk about ways in which you can make the most of the time that you have available to revise and how you can plan your revision effectively, because that's actually very, very important. It's something students always forget about doing. And if you do like this video, then please like and subscribe at the bottom of the screen. We're going to be producing quite a few of these videos over the coming weeks, talking about exam techniques, be that for the objective tests or the case study, and also various different videos relating to topics as well. So if there are any topics that you're struggling with, then keep an eye out for those. But in this specific video, I'm going to talk about the benefits of revising effectively and how to revise effectively, because it is something that is so important. And students do dismiss it. They think it's more soft advice. The amount of times I've spoken to students about how to revise effectively and say, well, don't tell me about that. Tell me about this specific thing in the pre-scene or about this topic if it's objective tests. Yes, that's important as well. But unless you revise effectively and you plan your revision and you make sure that you revise everything, then how much you know or don't know is immaterial when it comes to the exam, because if you haven't revised it effectively enough, you're not going to be able to use it effectively. So what I always suggest to students is that they put themselves in a position where they can revise effectively. So they remove themselves from distraction, they remove themselves from anything that they will not have on the exam day, particularly important when you're taking mock exams, of course, because at the end of the day, you're not going to have that on the day. Oh, you've got your computer open in case you need to remember what a term is. Are you going to have that on the day? No, so don't do it. Oh, you spent 5 hours to make sure your script was as good as possible. Are you going to have 5 hours on the day? No, so why do it? And also, it's very important to plan the time that you are going to revise. Don't just try to squeeze it in everywhere all the time. Whenever I've got a few 5 minutes, I just do some revision, because that's not good revision. It's pointless to revise if it's not good revision. If it's not going in, if you're not committing it to memory, if you're not making sense of it all, then it's not worth doing. It's better to do no revision than to do that, because at best, you're just going to waste your time. At worst, you're actually going to basically convince yourself that you've studied that already. So if you spend 1 hour looking through a particular topic and you've got so many things going on, it's all over the place, nothing has gone in, but you leave that thinking, right, I've spent some time revising that now, I'm okay with that. Well, actually, you'll just convince yourself that you have revised it when you haven't. And if a question comes up on that in the exam, you might find that you can't remember any of that. So it's very important to plan your revision, find time to actually do the revision effectively. And even if you have to do it in small little bursts, just to make sure that you keep your motivation up and you keep your focus up, then that's what you need to do. There's no point in slogging out 5 hours revising and by the second hour you're dead and nothing is going in. So it's better to revise in a way that benefits you, to make sure what you are learning actually goes in. And one thing I always suggest to students as well is to create a plan, to create a table of everything that they need to do. Something that looks a little like this, where you've got all the different days, you've got the different weeks here, and you look at everything you need to do and put into those boxes what you're going to do on those days. So if you are looking at the strategic case study exam and you want to plan when you're going to look at the pre-scene. So let's say you're going to look at the pre-scene on this day here, and you're going to look at the pre-scene on this day here and this day here. Put that in and make sure you stick to the plan. And the reason why this is important is because one of the other problems students have with revision is procrastination. Particularly when you have an exam that might be 6 to 8 weeks in advance. It's so easy to think, well, that's in 6 to 8 weeks' time. You know, I'll start tomorrow or I'll start next week. And then, of course, it gets to next week and then I'll start tomorrow, I'll start next week. And then they end up rushing. And that's also relevant at the time that we have now with the coronavirus and the lockdowns in different parts of the world, is people have too much free time. They actually have too much free time that they don't focus on anything. And that can actually make a difference. You think it would be the opportune time for everyone to do their exams, but people are not doing them as much because they are not finding the focus to sit down and revise and to try and pass these exams. And another problem that students have, and this is another reason why this plan comes into its own, is that students don't think about what they're going to revise in advance. And they don't think about what they need to revise. And so, as a result, they waste time. Because you come to your desk, you sit down, you think, right, I've got 1 hour, I'm going to do some revision. What should I do? And then they think about what they should do. What should I revise today? And then the problem with that is it's inherently biased to something that you probably want to revise, something you actually enjoy looking at. So you end up doing that. And also, you just waste time. You spent 5 minutes, 10 minutes of your 1 hour window that you had to revise thinking about what you were going to revise. And then, when you're doing it, you spend time thinking about what else you need to revise as well. So you're working through and you're thinking, well, okay, this is good, but I really do need to look at that, and I do need to do some of this, etc. And that's a problem as well, because you then, not only have you spent 5 minutes, 10 minutes thinking about what you need to revise, when you actually start revising, you're spending time thinking about what else you could be revising. But if you have a plan like this, and you put in absolutely everything that you need to do, put the exam date on here with a big red X or something like that, and list out everything you need to do, and make sure every single part of that is put on this chart here. Make sure you stick to the plan, then you know everything is going to be covered. Everything will be covered by the time you get to the exam day. You know exactly what you're going to be doing on every single day, and as long as you stick to it, you will cover every single part. So you don't need to worry about what else you need to revise, because as long as you stick to your plan, that will be revised by the exam day. So that's my recommendations for students with regards to revision, is to make sure you are in the right frame of mind, the right position. You have removed yourself from distractions so that you actually learn and you actually revise what you are revising. Now, half an hour of effective revision is much better than 2 hours of ineffective revision where nothing has gone in. So make sure you're in the right position. That's the first thing, to revise effectively. And also plan your revision out. Plan it all out in advance to make sure that you know everything will be covered. So that's a load off your mind as well. You know everything's going to be done. You don't need to worry about what else you need to do. And also, you know exactly what to do today. You can sit down at your desk and say, right, it's Tuesday of week 2, I need to be looking at this. So you look at that, and you don't think about anything else, you don't look at anything else. You're not wasting time thinking about what you should be looking at, or what else you could be looking at, etc., or deciding what to do today. So do take that advice on board. It does sound quite soft, I know, but it actually is really important. It's just as important to plan your revision as it is to plan your answers in the exam if you're sitting the case study. But as I say, this is not just for people who are doing the case study, also people who are doing their objective tests. Anyone who's got a specific deadline to be working towards, to use a revision plan like that is really effective. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you have found this video useful. If you have, then do hit that like and subscribe at the bottom, or visit the website www.astranti.com for more information, more samples, and more information about what we do here as a company, the kinds of products that we provide. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you for the next few videos that I'm going to produce.